Alrighty, hello everyone, Alan from MysteryMTG.com, episode 26 of Car Talk. The sun is setting here in Seoul, South Korea, and I want to talk about why you should not be opening a game store anytime soon, especially in 2024, 2025. Things might change, but I doubt it. In recent times, and I'm just going to get straightforward to the point, in recent times, supply has become a really big issue for things that customers want to buy. And people who start game stores have these grandiose ideas that, oh, well, I'll start the store and people will come in and it's going to be packed. I know it's going to be packed and they'll buy my product. Look, as harsh as it is to say, because we all want to think that our community is willing to support us, and a lot of them do. A lot of them really put their best foot forward. The issue is not them. It's the game manufacturers. It's Wizards of the Coast. It's the major distributors. The things that people want to buy, e.g. secret layers, etc., etc. Anytime they come out with something cool, it's always independent and it's through them directly, and it's hard to get and it's limited supply now. And that doesn't stop there. Let's look at Modern Horizons 3, and people just got their allocation numbers for Modern Horizons 3 collector decks, and this is a pretty hot selling item right now, and it has been a hot item. And we were really excited to be able to sell this product. And, people can get a fully folded out competitive deck from Modern Horizons 3. Okay, some people don't like it. Some people like it. Well, turns out every WPN is going to get one set. It's not even worth your time adding the SKU to your website for a single set of a product. Don't even freaking send it. And then they had this promotion where it was like, oh, we'll guarantee you 4 sets of Modern Horizons 3 collector. And everyone was like, oh, that's super exciting. Okay, we'll at least get 4. And then maybe our distributor will give us an extra 2, right? Or something, right? Still super limited, but at least we'll have a couple of, no, it wasn't 4 sets. They came back and said, no, we misphrased that. It's 1 of each. So basically 1 additional set. So if your distributor gives you 1, you'll get 1 additional set for running 6 OTJ drafts that get minimum 8 players per event. And that's what you get. You get an additional unit of the SKU that you're only going to get 1 of. This has continuously happened. Fallout Collectors is the same thing. I imagine Final Fantasy is going to be the same thing. I'd imagine that all these other hot IPs are going to be the same thing. They're impossible to get. And funnily enough, there is a distributor out there, and I'm not going to name names, but there's a distributor out there who doesn't give you a good amount of this product and then relists it at a higher price through their own channel. So yeah, they're a distributor, but they're also reselling their own product at market prices or slightly under market prices. So they're benefiting off of the success of a product. So why does that mean you shouldn't be opening a game store? Because you're saying, well, people are going to buy play boosters, right? And they're going to buy commander decks. And not really, man. A lot of people buy that stuff from Amazon. A lot of people will maybe buy a couple of packs. If they're really crazy, they might buy a box. Well, unfortunately, for you to make enough money at the razor thin margins that every store has to abide by due to secondary market prices like secondary market channels, then you need to be selling 60 to 100 boxes on release to be able to make enough money to afford your payroll and your overhead and to come out with a profit and make it worth your time. Ideally, you'd be selling more. That just isn't happening right now, and it's not going to happen in the future. You are coming into a time in which Wizards has said to their shareholders, and it's not just Wizards, it's every seller. Every single manufacturer now wants to go direct to consumer. We see this in the watch market. We see this in the game market. Wizards wants to go direct to consumer because they want to cut out the middlemen. They don't want, the distributors and the retailers to make a ton of money. They want them to make enough money to want to carry the product. But even Wizards will say, back in the day, they wanted to, really push stores to hyper focus on Magic and competitive play. And now their suggestion is, well, you should be carrying other IPs. You should be carrying, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, make money there too, and then just have Magic as a sideline product, which is crazy to me that that's the sentiment, because don't you want your product to be the thing that everyone wants to stock and has at the forefront? And then I look at Lorcana and what they did, and I was like, wow, really, really good moves by them. And that's why we're leaning heavier into Lorcana. They reprinted the product. They came out with more of it. They've, if you qualified for the store championship, you didn't get 1 additional box. You got 24 boxes of first edition. You got 16 boxes of the second edition. You got 8 boxes of the third edition. And the reason it scaled down is because those were still available through distributors. So it was great, right? It was really good. We're giving you a ton of the product that's hard to get, that everyone wants to buy. And then we'll give you a little bit of the other stuff because you can still get it through your distributor. We'll just guarantee that you can get a little bit more. So, yeah, do not start a game store anytime soon if you are not okay with that. And honestly, due to the fact that you don't have a relationship with distributors, they aren't going to give you, they might not even give you one of some of these products. You know, you might not even get a single unit of a Modern Horizons 3 collector commander display or anything. So it's like, in that case, you need to be understanding that when all your customers come and your new customers are like, I want to buy this SKU, I really want this, and you're a new game store, right? Well, we don't have it. Okay, well, I'm going back to the other stores and I'm never coming back to you again. That sounds harsh, but that's exactly what people do. If you aren't competitive, if you don't have the things that they're looking for, they're not coming back to you. That's not happening. So on top of that, we just got our CPI report, right? The government just released CPI, and it looks like inflation is hedging higher for stuff like rent. It's unchanged for stuff like food, and it's gone down for a couple things, but rent is still high. So if you're spending, like we spend thousands and thousands and thousands of, I can't give the exact number, but thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per month for rent, right? I'll give you a ballpark number, okay? Around $20,000 a month for our overhead. And that's being very conservative. It can be way higher. And in fact, if you're in Texas, you have triple N, which means they can hit you with more fees. At the end of the year, they might reconcile and say, well, you owe an additional $1,500 or you owe an additional $3,000. Guys, it's very sad to say. I wish, the day that the store is no longer owned by me, that MysteryMTG.com is no longer owned by me, and I can go back in and just go to game stores as a player and enjoy the game again and just hang out with friends. I'm so excited for that day, because the war between us and the distributors and the manufacturer, and between programs like getting angry at the WPN Premium program actually becoming downgraded now. It's not as good as it once was, and Konami OTS and all these rules that people have, and now Lorcana is even jumping into this by saying, well, retailers can't sell online for the first 2 weeks. They have good reasoning behind that, but I know what's going to happen, and it's that they say that you can offer pre-orders, but they have to be able to pick up the product on mass launch date. And for me, that's a very arbitrary rule. Just let us sell the product. Let us sell the product. I understand you want to be pro-consumer and everything, right? But the past 2 releases have been amazing. All of our customers, anyone who's in store gets preferential treatment, obviously. Our local customers are the priority, but we've also been able to fill every single other order, and no one is going to want to pre-order from a retailer if you're only going to be able to get your product at mass launch. So there's all of these little stipulations with everything, and that is something you will seriously need to consider when you're starting a game store. Are you going to be able to make enough money selling board games? No, you're not. You're not. Are you going to be offering food and beverage? If you are, you need to be very careful about that. There's liability. And a lot of these game, manufacturers that have organized play programs don't want a partner that is selling alcohol, because that's a high profit thing, right? Selling alcohol and beer and stuff like that. But a lot of these programs don't want a store that is selling alcohol and also selling something like Disney, right? Because people are bringing their kids. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but you're starting your store at the worst time. This is the worst time. 3 years ago, it was fine, right? Everyone was buying a ton of product. Everything was very, inflation. Everyone was spending a ton of money. People had free money. They had money from the government. 2 years ago, it's changed. It's changed. I know. Some people don't feel it. Things are changing. Higher interest rates, it's a lagging indicator. It doesn't affect the market immediately. It affects the market over time, and we're feeling that now. People are buying less. And in fact, let's revise that. Let's say, well, no, people aren't buying less, they're buying more. Let's just say that was the case. They're not buying more from local game stores. They're buying more from secret layers and from direct consumer products. Everything that is cool, everything that's a win, a W for the retailer, is not available for sale through a retailer. It's available through direct channels like Secret Lair. And I can't stress the importance of that. If we could sell secret layers, the business would be very, very, very lucrative, right? Of course, they're doing these things now where it's limited supply and they get sold out, but they're creating this artificial feeling of scarcity. And I understand that for them, they want people to buy these things as soon as they come out, right? And they don't want you to hesitate. They don't want you to wait. They don't want you to forget. They want you to buy it as soon as it's available because it might sell out. But for retailers, when we're trying to get people to buy OTJ Play Boosters and join us for our RCQ and join us for our store championship, and people are like, well, I just spent all my money on these secret layers. I'm sorry, man. I can't afford it. I can't afford a $5 entry fee for Commander. That's like saying, well, I want to go to Starbucks, but I can't buy coffee, right? Because coffee at Starbucks is like, what, $5 to $8? So I got rid of that. People don't have to pay to come in for Commander night anymore, but it's just makes running payroll really, really difficult when you have these free events. At the end of the day, my biggest lesson in life, having run a game store now for, how long has it been? 7 years, right? Having run a game website and then a game store, having run this business for 7 years, I realized that we always want to think of it kind of like a charity. I'm doing this for the community. I want to help. And that's what it is, because you could make much more money elsewhere doing almost anything else. I want you to know that for sure. But in reality, you have employees who have their own lives, who have their own families, who have their own bills. And when that paycheck time comes, you can't give an excuse. You can't say, well, MHV was a major flop, I can't pay payroll. No, that's just not how that works. And then when Wizards does something that looks bad on you, you can't say, well, that's Wizards. No, you're a retailer, you're a face of Wizards. They're going to blame you. They're not going to come to your store. They're not going to buy your product. If they're boycotting, they're going to boycott you too. So this extends to everything, right? It extends to everything. Even if you're a game store saying, well, I'll only sell Bandai, you are getting screwed right now. If you're a Bandai store, where it used to be you would place an order 6 months before and then you were guaranteed that allocation, and now you are, you're placing an order 6 months before and you're getting 25% of what you ordered because they changed the printing of the product. I guess it because of some IP thing or profit share, it's not very profitable for them. So they're limiting the production of these boxes, right? And it's causing a bottleneck. So if you're a Bandai store, your life sucks. If you're a Pokemon store, your life sucks. The market is corrected and a lot of your stuff is depreciated and you're probably not super, super happy. And trade nights are something that a lot of Pokemon stores do, which is crazy to me because there's a bunch of liability involved. And yeah, people haven't filed lawsuits yet, but they absolutely could if they got a counterfeit card at your store, unless you made them sign waivers or something. There's a lot of stuff to take into consideration there. So all of this stuff, just to say, don't start a game store right now. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, maybe after everything crashes and calms down and all of the rest of us have gone out of business, you can swoop in, take up the market, and start anew and start fresh. Don't start a game store right now. And if you have any questions, I would like a lot of the partners, a lot of partner stores are in these Facebook groups, and we talk a lot. And a lot of these issues are something we all share. We all, have seen some of our colleagues go out of business recently, and no one blames them. I think a lot of us are like kind of teetering on wanting to go out of business just because it's like, something was popular and you used to be able to get booster boxes for $76 a box and sell it for $110, right? But now you're getting booster boxes for $110 and selling them for like $130 or $120, okay? In fact, some of those play boosters, MKM is a good example, they're selling for less than what you paid as the baseline product. And that's the product that you can get a lot of. It's the only product that you're guaranteed a lot of. It's the play boosters. And the reality of the situation is, if people buy it at a higher price from you, they're going to feel gypped when they walk out of the store. And we've gotten 1-star reviews because people say, well, I walked out of the store and the price was lower on TCG Player. As if we are held to the standard that our products must all be cheaper than TCG Player. It is not something that any other retailer really deals with, right? Where it's like, oh, well, this sells for cheaper on eBay, so you're scamming me. Discount it to eBay. That's not how retail works. But for game stores, that is how it works, and that's why it's such a bad business. People are going to hold you to these prices that are unreasonable. They're just not prices that game stores can do and also have overhead and payroll, et cetera, et cetera. So just please listen to me. And if you're going to do it anyway, fine, but you really need to have a very innovative idea, and I promise you, everyone, including me, thinks that we're very innovative. before we started business that we're going to do something different. But in reality, every single store falls to the same fate. And that's just what it is, okay? Alan from MysteryMTG.com. Comment below if you have a question. If you're going to start a game store and you want some advice or you want me to critique something, I don't care. Comment below and I'll give you my best shot. And I'll see you guys next time. Alan from MysteryMTG.com. Bye-bye.